Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be reviewing my copy of the Blood Angel Codex. I know I'm late, but I said I was going to do one. I'm going to have a little look, talk about it, and yeah, so grab a brew, get comfortable, let's jump in. Yay, Blood Angels are officially out. They were officially out yesterday. I had plans of using the app and everything else to make my video, but Games Workshop suck and haven't updated the app yet. Even though I've added the codex to my Warhammer, I still can't use the app. So I've had to take some crappy photos to put things up here, which is really, really annoying. You suck, Games Workshop. Anyway, Codex. So I got my Codex for the Blood Angels, and I'm really chuffed. I got this one off eBay. This is the one that comes from the Death Company launch box. Beautiful cover, and it also comes with some really nice set of cards as well, which is these ones. So really, really cool. And about that, they're really quite nice. They're like shiny gold at the edges as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so it's pretty kind of awesome, really. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and we're going to talk about a little bit about the book itself. The lore and everything in the book is really, really good. The artwork is absolutely stunning. It's really nice. Loving some of the newer artwork in it as well, especially likes of the Death Company stuff. Yeah, it's really quite nice, and there's some really cool little short stories in there as well. The miniatures that have come out, the new Asaroth, Sanguinor, and everything else. When I originally sort of looked at the Sanguinary Guard, I wasn't massively impressed on them, but now look, they're slowly sort of growing on me. I will personally, when I get them, I'll probably not have helmets on them. I'll probably give them different helmets. But yeah, they're the helmets are, I think, for me, are the one bit that puts them down. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump over the camera and we're going to have a little look at the detachments and then some of the units, some of the newer units, not all of the new units, but some of the new units. So I'm just going to miss out the captains and some of the Death Company units. I'm just basically focus on the ones that I'm pretty much liking the look of. So let's jump over. So first things first, we have, obviously there's 3 detachments in this book. There is this one, which is going to be the Liberator Assault Group. I really quite like this one. It's a really quite nice thematic Blood Angel detachment, and apparently it is a kind of tweaked version of the Index, which is pretty good. So as you can see, the detachment rule is the Red Thirst. So each time an adaptive status unit from your army is selected to fight, if that unit makes a charge move this turn, until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack characteristics and 2 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit, which is pretty awesome. You know, +1 attack, +2 strength on the turn that you charge. It's pretty cool. Really quite nice as well. I quite like that. There's obviously with Blood Angels, you want to sort of lean into the close combat aspect of the army because they are a close combat army, and it's pretty awesome that's kind of like that. So next up, we've got Speed of the Primarch. So we've got some enhancements. We've got Speed of the Primarch, which is models only, adaptive stat is model only. Once per battle, at the start of your fight phase, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does so, until the end of the phase, models in the unit, bearers unit have fight first ability. That's really cool. Having fight first ability is really good. It's really kind of handy if you charge and don't kill something, or you get charged, you can then trigger this. And because you both fight first, you then fight simultaneously, which then means that he will do his fight first units, or your opponent will do your other fights first units, and then you'll then get to pick your unit before him. So even though he charged, you still then get to slap them about a bit, which is pretty decent. Then there's the Rage Fuel Warrior. So adaptive stat is models only. Once per battle at the start of your fight phase, this bearer can use this enhancement. If it does so until the end of the phase, the bearer's melee weapons have sustained 3. Which is pretty good. Now, with some of the captain's abilities that you can do, will like get devastating wounds and 3 attacks and stuff for the once per battle, you could sort of add that into this and then really go to town with it, which is really quite nice. Then there's Icon of the Angel. Model only. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, within engagement range of the bearer's unit is selected to fall back, models in that enemy unit must take desperate escape tests as if the unit was battle shocked. When doing so, if the enemy unit is also battle shocked by other means, subtract 1 from their desperate escape test. Basically, that just means rolling a 1, I believe. If you roll 1s on your d6, they take a mortal damage. Yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's okay. Gift the Foresight, model only. Once per battle round after making a hit, wound, or save roll, you can treat the result as an unmodified 6. Again, that is really good if you've got the captain and you're doing devastating wounds. You can, once per battle, after making a hit, a wound, and a save roll, you can treat the result. Now, I'm not too sure if it's all of the dice or it's just going to be 1 dice. It's probably just 1 dice, but pretty decent. Now, one thing that I do like about this detachment is we do still get the ability to run and charge, which is quite nice. It is 1 CP and it's aggressive onslaught, which is pretty good. And until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to either shoot, declare a charge. Even though it advanced, you can instead choose for your unit to give. You can instead choose for your unit to give it into the red thirst. If it does, it becomes battle shocked. Okay, but the effects of this stratagem still take effect, so you can still run and charge, but you are battle shocked. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to both shoot and charge, even though it advanced, which is kind of cool. So you still get your +1 attack and your +2 strength, and on top of that, you are still able to run and charge. Now, if you take a unit of assault intercessors with jump packs and a captain leading them, he gives them +1 strength on the charge. Or +1 to wound on the charge. This would then give them +2 and then an extra attack. So you're talking at least a captain, a smash captain, is going to be pumping out at least 6, 7 attacks at around about strength 8, which is pretty good. I mean, if you give it a thunder hammer, you're going to be having 6 attacks. And potentially you're going to be strength 3 plus 3 to the strength. Basically, you're going to be like nearly strength 11, which is pretty decent. So yeah. And obviously another one that you can do in the charge phase is Savage Echoes. So either select the strength and of attacks characteristic of the melee weapon by models in your unit until the end of that turn. Add 1 to the selected characteristics. You can instead choose for your unit to give into the red thirst. If it does, it becomes battle shocked, but the effects of the stratagem still apply. And until the end of the turn, add 1 to the strength and attack characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit. So you select either the strength or your attacks, but if you decide to go for the red thirst, you get +1, +1. +1 attack, +1 strength. Again, not too bad, but you do become battle shocked. So you know that is your kind of drawback. Next up, we have the Lost Brethren. This is your Death Company detachment. So if you want to go all about the Death Company, this is the one for you. And each time a Death Company model from your army makes a melee attack, re-roll a wound roll of 1 if that model's unit is below half strength. If that model's unit is below its starting strength, and if the model is below half strength, you can re-roll the wound roll instead. So obviously, if you have a 10-man unit and you charge, you re-roll 1s for wounds, and if you are below half strength, so 5 or less models, then you re-roll all wounds. Pretty cool. So if you select this detachment, Death Company Marines and Death Company Marines with bolt rifles become battle line if you need them, which is kind of nice. Now, obviously, with certain Death Watch companies, Death Company units, you're going to need chaplains in behind them, in with them to make them scoring, as in having OC. So yeah, chaplains are really important in this army. So they have a couple of enhancements. The first enhancement they've got is Sanguinary's Grace. So Death Company model only. Once per battle, at the end of the fight phase, if the bearer is within engagement range of 3 or more enemy models, the bearer can fight 1 additional time. That's pretty cool. Bloodshard. Death Company model only. The first time the bearer is destroyed at the end of the phase, roll a d6 on a 2+. The bearer is set back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within engagement range, and any enemy units with 3 wounds remaining. So you kind of become like a little mini Guilliman. You kind of jump back up with 3 wounds and you get to fight again. The Slayer of the Warmaster. Once per battle at the start of the fight phase, if the bearer is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy character units, you can select one of these character units and roll the d6. On a 4+, one character model in that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. That's not too bad. And then Vengeful Onslaught. If the bearer is destroyed until the end of your next turn, each time a friendly Death Company model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. Yeah. For me, I really like the Blood Shard and the Sanguinary's Grace. They're the 2 that I quite like for that one. And for the Death Company, they've got quite a lot of... obviously, you've got 6 stratagems, but the one that I quite like is the Lost in Rage. So until the end of the phase, improve the attack's strength and armor penetration characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit by 1. Unless your unit is within 12 inches of 1 or more friendly chaplain models, until the end of the phase, those weapons have a hazardous ability. So you put a chaplain in a unit and then pop this on them, and they don't have to get hazardous, but they get +1 attack, +1 strength, and +1 penetration, which is pretty decent. So yeah. Death Company aren't amazing like they used to be, but they still pack a punch. Finally, we have the Angelic Horse, which is all about your Sanguinary Guard and stuff like that, and your jump infantry. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you can select a number of Astartes jump pack units from your army, excluding units that are within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. The maximum number of units you can select depends on the battle as size. So Strike Force, 2,000 points, you're going to get up to 2 units. Once you have made your selection, remove those units from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserve. In the reinforcement setup of your next movement phase, set each of these units up using the Deep Strike ability. So really kind of cool. You can kind of do what Grey Knights do. You can get your jump units can be lifted and then dropped off, which is going to be really good for like late game things like behind enemy lines or get the stronghold and stuff like that. You're going to be able to drop down in your deployment zone, maybe the quarters, attacking an objective in deep that you're probably not going to be able to get to normally. It's pretty decent. They've got a couple of enhancements as well. So they've got Artisan of War, Astartes with a jump pack model only, improve the armor penetration characteristic of the bearer's weapon by 1, and the bearer has a save characteristic of 2+. Pretty cool. Now, I quite like that on a jump captain with a smash hammer, so you can give him a shield. But the captain's already going to have a 2-up armor save anyway, but you're increasing the Thunder Hammer's penetration to -3 instead of 2, which is not bad. Adapt this to the Astartes power weapon model in the Battle Shock step of your command phase. Each enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles with engagement range of the bearer, must take a Battle Shock test. That's okay. That could probably potentially, knock out some OC and get you to take objectives, which is always quite nice. Archangel Shard on a jump pack unit only. The bearer's melee weapons have anti-chaos 5+, and the Lance ability. Really nice to take out those big, tough demon engines. And then Gleaming Pions, Astartes jump pack unit only. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of the bearer, if this bearer is not engaged within 1 or more enemy units, it may make a non-move up to 6 inches. Which is pretty good. And then we've got various stratagems. There's quite a few of them, but one of the ones that I really do like is Martial Exemplars. So you do this in the fight phase until the end of the phase. Melee weapons equipped with models in your unit have the lethal hits and precision ability, which is really quite nice, especially when you're going to be able to sort of target characters and sort of snipe them out as well. Okay, so first up for the unit is Commander Dante, and Dante comes in at, where is he? 130 points. And he's a toughness 4 model, 2-up armor save, 4-up invulnerable with 6 wounds, pretty decent. And OC1, he has the Petition Pistol, which is Melter 2. It's a pistol and it's got sustain hits D3, pretty sweet. It hits on 2s, and it's strength 9, minus 4 AP, doing D6 damage, which is quite nice. And then the Axe Mortalis, which is lethal hits, 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, minus 3, 2 damage apiece. And obviously he can join Assault Intercessors with jump packs, Sanguinary Guard, or Vanguard Veteran Squads. Now, he does have Deep Strike and the Leader ability, and he has Awful Moment, obviously, because he's a Space Marine. And then he's got Warden of the Imperial Nihilus. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the advance and charge rolls for models for that unit. And each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit rolls, which is pretty good when you stick him in with some Sanguinary Guard. And then he has the Death Mask, so at the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the test result, which is pretty cool. So yeah, he's a bit of a big stick, and he's pretty cheap. 130 points is not bad, to be fair. I think he's awesome. He's an amazing model. So yeah, I will definitely be running Dante with at least 6 Sanguinary Guard. Next up, we have the Sanguinor, which he is got a movement of 12, and the Sanguinor comes in at 140 points. So he has 4, he's toughness 4, he has a 2-up armor save and 4-up invulnerable. He's 7 wounds, and he has the Incarmine Broadsword, which has devastating wounds. He has 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, minus 3 AP, 2 damage apiece. Not bad. Now, his special rules, he is Deep Strike, Fight First, Lone Operative, and Awful Moment, which obviously means that he can't join units. So he runs around on his own. He's the closest thing the Blood Angels have to a Primarch right now. The Aura of the Favour, so while friendly Adapters Astartes units are within 6 inches of this model, you can re-roll Battle Shock tests and Leadership tests if they are needed to be taken, which is pretty good. So, Miraculous Saviour, so this is how he comes into the battle. So, he kind of a bit like the Celestial Prime from Age of Sigmar. So, once per battle, at the end of your opponent's charge phase, if this model is still in reserve, which he will be, you can select one enemy unit model that made a charge move this phase, set this model up on the battlefield within engagement range of that enemy unit. So he just drops down straight into engagement range, which is really cool. Doesn't class as being in charge though, but that's not the problem. You still drop him in, and then you can, then just absolutely wreck stuff. I think he's really cool. He's a bit of a beat stick. Relatively cheap, 140 points, which is quite nice to see. So yeah, and a beautiful model as well. Next up, we have Memphiston. You can't do a review of the book without Memphiston. He comes in at where is he? 125 points. Now, he has a movement of 7. He has a toughness 5. Because we all need to ask the question is Memphiston Demon Prince? I think he is. He's got 2-up save, and he only has a 5-up invulnerable. That's better than he's had in previous editions where he didn't have an invulnerable save. But now he does. He has a 5-up, and he has a 6 wounds. He has a couple of weapons, obviously, because he's a Psyker. He has his Fury of the Ancients Witchfire, which is a pistol, psychic attack, sustained 1, at 18-inch range, attacks 3, plus 2 to hit, strength 4, minus 1 AP, D3 damage, not shabby. Then he has the Fury of the Ancients, Focus Witchfire, which is hazardous, pistol, psychic, sustain hits 3. Again, pretty much the exact same profile as before, but it's now strength 5, and it's minus 2 AP, which is not bad. And then he has the Plasma Pistol himself, which is standard, and hazardous, which is just a standard plasma pistol. Then he has his sword, which is Vitarius, which is lethal hits, and it's psychic. So it's basically a full sword. 6 attacks. Hits on 2s. It's strength 9. It's minus 3 AP, and it does D3 damage, which is pretty good. Now, Memphiston is, again, a lone operative. He fights first, and he has a Feel No Pain 4+, which is really good. Considering that he's cheaper than the other 2 characters, and they don't have Feel No Pain, which is pretty decent. So he's the Quickening. So this model is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. So he runs and charges anyway, which is really, really sweet. Transfixed Gaze. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time this unit is selected to fall back, it must take a leadership test. If this test is failed, then the unit will remain in place. So he's got that vampire his gaze ability. And then he's an epic hero, so he's on his own. You know, he's pretty decent. I quite like Memphis then. He's a pretty cool character, and he's an absolute beautiful model. Okay, the first of the new, well, the second of the new miniatures, which is Asaroth the Grim. And Asaroth comes in at 105 points. He's toughness 4, he has a movement of 12, he has 5 wounds, he has a 2-up save and a 4-up invulnerable. And he has his Executioner's Axe, which has devastating wounds and precision. 6 attacks hitting on 2s, strength 7, -3 AP and 2 damage per hit. And obviously he can join a Death Company Marines unit with jump packs, obviously. He has Deep Strike and a leader. He has the Redeemer of the Lost ability. So while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if that model is not fought this phase, roll a d6 on a 4+. Do not remove it from play. The destroyed unit can fight after the attacks have been finished before making its attacks, and then it's removed from play. So he kind of gives the unit fight on death on a 4+, which is pretty sweet. Then Massive Doom. Each time this model unit makes a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by models in that unit have devastating wounds. So you can essentially pump out a lot of attacks from this unit. And the fact that you can have fight on death as well as giving them devastating wounds is pretty decent. And that's not bad for 105 points. Next up, we have Lamates, probably one of the coolest looking of the new miniatures. And he comes in at a whopping 100 points. So obviously he's toughness 4, he's got a jump pack, so he moves 12. He's got a 3-up armor save and a 4-up invulnerable, and he only has 4 wounds. He has Absolver Pistol, which is an 18-inch range, 1 shot, 2 hits on 2s, strength 5, -1 AP, 2 damage, not bad. And then he has his Blood Crozius, which has lethal hits, 5 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 6, AP 2, and then 2 damage. And again, he can join Death Company with jump packs. Now he has Deep Strike, Feel No Pain 6+, and Leader, and he has the Oath of Moment ability. So while this model is leading a unit, each time a unit is allocated to a model in that unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristics of that attack. So basically, when you target him, the unit is -1 damage. Pretty good. So Fury Unbound. While this unit is leading a unit, melee weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability. So it's pretty good. So you've got a choice. But then again, if you're going to go heavy on the Death Company and you're going to be taking the Death Company detachment, then you're probably going to have Asaroth and Lamates both leading a unit each, to be fair. And for only 100 points and 105 points, they're relatively cheap to do so. Okay, so next, one of my new favourite units in the whole book, which is the Sanguinary Priest. Now, these are only 90 points, and I think these are absolutely awesome for 90 points. Now, it's just a bog standard Marine. They've got 4 wounds. They don't have an invulnerable, but they do have a 3-up save, and they've got toughness 4. They have the Absolver Pistol, which obviously it's on 3s because they're not really a character. But then they have the Astartes Chainsword, which they do have 5 attacks with, hitting on 3s, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage. Now, they can join quite a few units. So they can join Assault Intercessor Squads, Desolator Squads, Hellblaster Squads, Inferno Squads, Intercessor Squads, Tactical Squads, and Stern Guard Veteran Squads. Now, the fact that they can join Assault Intercessor Squads makes me happy because of their abilities, and we'll get that onto that now. They are leaders, they have Oath of Moment, and they have the Sanguinary Priest ability. While this unit is leading a unit, models in that unit have a Feel No Pain 5+. 5+ Feel No Pain on your squads, that's so good. Running 3 Sanguinary Priests with 3 battle line units of Assault Interceptors is so cool. And then they have the Blood Chalice. So while this model is leading a unit, improve the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons by 1. That means your chain blades now in those Assault Intercessors are now AP2, which is really, really good. And potentially, with the other buffs that you can give them, you can get a really killy unit out of those 10 Marines. with Red Thirst and some of the stratagems in the Liberator Assault group, you can probably get them up to quite high as well, which is pretty scary. So yeah, 3 Sanguinary Priests is definitely a must-have. All right, next up is the Sanguinary Guard. You're either going to love them or you're going to hate them. They are now units of 3 models. So for 3 models, they come in at 150 points. For 6 models, they come in at 600 points. Sorry, 300 points. That is a pretty scary amount of points for 6 models. But it is what it is. Now, they are 3 wounds each, which is really cool to see, and they do have a 4-up invulnerable and a 2-up armor save. They have their Angelus Bolt pistols, which is 2 shots, 3s followed by 4s, no AP, 1 damage, and then they have an Infernus pistol. And basically, one model's bolt gun can replace with an Infernus pistol, which is kind of cool. And basically, it's a 6-inch melter gun, basically. Hits on 3s, strength 8, minus 4 AP, does D3 damage. Then you've got the choice. You can have Encarmine Blades, which is 4 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 6, minus 3 AP, or with 2 damage. Or you can have the Encarmine Spears, which do have the lance ability. Now, bear in mind, if you take the Angelic Horse, you have the ability to give them lance anyway, or is it lance or lethal hits, which is not too bad. But these are 3 attacks. They hit on 3s. It's strength 6, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. For me, I like the Encarmine Blades. I like the additional attack and the additional AP. I think for me, I would probably lead into the Encarmine Blades. Lance is good, but it just means that you're always wounding on strength 12 when it comes to something higher than toughness. Sorry, toughness 12. So if you're coming up against more than toughness 12, it's handy, but I kind of like see these guys as blending units rather than going after like big armored monsters and stuff like that. So obviously they've got a couple of rules. They've got the Angelic Visions. So each time this a model targets this unit, subtract 1 from hits. And while a character is leading the unit, each time a melee attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So if you have Dante in a unit of 6, they're minus 1 to hit, minus 1 to wound. And then they get plus 1 to hit as well, so they're now hitting on 2s, which is pretty decent. They do have a banner, so the banner does add 1 to the objective control score for the bearer's weapons, for the bearer unit, and you can have a maximum of 6. I quite like them. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like the models, but for me, they're getting they're kind of growing on me, which is kind of cool. Next up, we have the Death Company Marines, and I've chosen the ones with the jump packs because there's a lot more going into them with the characters rather than the other 2. So you can have them with bolt guns, or you can have them with basically close combat weapons, or you can give them jump packs. So there's like 3 units of Death Company, basically. So basically, they're 2 wound assault marines, essentially, but they're Death Company. They have access to hand flamers, heavy pistols, Infernus pistols, plasma pistols. They've got the Astartes chain swords, power fist, power weapons, and they have got the Inviscerator, which is basically sustained wounds 1, 3 attacks, hits on 4s, strength 7, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. And you can have 1 in 5 models can have an Inviscerator, and then there's quite a lot of weapon options on the back. But their rules have got Deep Strike, and they have Feel No Pain 6+, and then they've got the Oath of Moment rule. And then they've got Black Rage, which is kind of cool. So each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the hit rolls, which is kind of cool. While this unit is not within 12 inches of 1 or more friendly chaplain models, it cannot be selected to fall back. An objective control characteristic of this model is down to 0. So if there isn't a chaplain nearby, you lose your OC of 1. But you do, every time this model makes a melee attack, you always get to re-roll hits, which is pretty decent. Couple that in, so basically you're always going to have Oath of Moment on with them, which is kind of good. And then they've got Savage Fury, so you can re-roll charge rolls made for this unit. Now, each one of them does something slightly different, but Black Rage is pretty much the one thing that they do all the time, which is pretty good. I quite like them. Are they broken and busted like they used to be? No. Are they a little bit more thematic? Yes. And I'm all for that. Okay, next up is the Death Company Dreadnought. Now, these things are 220 points. Now, I believe a Brutalis Dreadnought is 160 points, and this is basically a Death Company version of a Brutalis. So you can make up your mind if you're going to take one or not. I am still on the fence if I would take this over a Brutalis. So it has 12 wounds, it's toughness 10, it's 2 up save, it moves 8. It's basically a Brutalis. It has the Blood Fists, the 2 heavy bolters, the 2 Iconus Iron Rail heavy stubbers, and then it's got the twin link melters as well that you can put in its chest. Or it can have the Blood Fists or the Blood Talons. Again, none of that has changed. It's basically exactly the same as the Brutalis. Now, the big thing that does change is its rules. It's got Deadly Demise D3, and it has Feel No Pain 6+. Feel No Pain 6+ is not bad. And then it has the Black Range ability. So again, you do exactly what the Brutalis does. So if you give it the Blood Talons, the claws, that comes with twin linked. Then your Black Rage is allowing you to reroll hits. You're also re-rolling wounds because you're twin linked, which is really, really good. And then Driven by Fury. So in your opponent's shooting phase, each time an enemy unit has shot, if one model was hit, if this model was hit by one or more of those attacks, it can make a Driven by Fury move. So to do so, make a d6 roll and add 2 to the roll. If this model's move and add 2 to the roll. This model moves a number of inches equal to the result, but must finish as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, excluding aircraft. A model cannot make a Driven by Fury move while it is battle shocked or with engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, and can only make 1 Driven by Fury move per turn. Now, the biggest thing that I think is taken away from this compared to the Brutalis is this doesn't have all of the mortal wounds on the charge. So obviously, with a Brutalis, when you charge, you roll a d6, and on a 2 to 3, you basically do d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 to 5, you do 3 mortal wounds, and then on a 6, you do d3 plus d3. Yeah, you do d3 plus 3 mortal wounds, which is pretty decent, which you then can throw a CP on top of it, and then do tank shock and roll 10 dice, and every 5+ you do an additional mortal wound. I've been doing that in my games with my Howling Griffins, and I've been sort of like averaging 7 to 8 wounds each time I do it. This doesn't do that. What this does instead is it gets a 6-up Feel No Pain, so it's going to be around a bit longer. You get to reroll hits and reroll wounds. And if someone shoots at you, you're going to run d6 towards them. d6 plus 2. So potentially you can make an 8-inch move closer to the enemy. So you're just going to get up the board a lot faster, which means that in your turn you're going to be a shorter charge range, a charge roll. I don't know. Is all of that worth the extra 60 points? Oh, I don't know. So that's up to you to decide. For me, maybe having a Death Company one, they are iconic. And I think they would be scary. A 2-up save and a 6-up Feel No Pain is pretty good. I don't know. I may have to try that. But that is essentially Blood Angels. They're pretty decent. I really like them. I really love in the Liberate Assault group. Death Company do seem to be pretty fun. I'm definitely going to have a unit of 10 Death Company with jump packs, led by either Asaroth or Lamates, because why not? I'm still 50-50 about the Death Company Dreadnoughts. I don't know if I'm going to bring one or if the Brutalis is just better. I'm not too sure. You know, let me know in the comments what you think between the two. I'm loving Dante. I love the Sanguinor. Yeah, I'm just really impressed with the Blood Angels. This is a solid book. Like, out of 10, I would give this a solid 8. A really solid 8 out of 10. My only criticism is the Bal Predator. That's my only criticism out of the whole thing. The Bal Predator is in this, and that is my only criticism, because I would have preferred the Bal Predator to basically just be take the Gladiator tank, the one with the Gatling guns, the Reaper, and basically just make that the Bal Predator. Just give it a new datasheet using that model. That would have been really, really cool. That would have been really, really cool to basically have a Primaris version of the Bal Predator. And all the Bal Predator does is you can run in advance, you can re-roll advanced moves made by that model. That's it. It's essentially the same. Now, you know, the twin-linked assault cannons, assault, devastator, twin-linked, stuff like that. I think there could have been merit for that. I think you could have easily done it. The Gladiator chassis is basically the Bal Predator. They could have easily brought out a second one, a newer version, with just the Flamestorm cannon on it and the flamers. So you kind of have the Bal Predator already as an Imperator, as an Impulsor type chassis, or you could have had the sort of Bolter one, which is already there. I think that was a kind of a miss. I think that could have been updated to the Primaris. I can imagine Crawl would have been able to take the SDC from the Bal Predator and make them like better, basically. But yeah, that's my only gripe. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be working on some lists that I really like. I'm going to sort of do lists, and I'm going to be coming up with the part 1 of my Blood Angels Army Project series, which I'm going to be doing. If you've watched my sort of hints and tips on starting a new project, it's basically taking what I've talked about in there and then applying that. And the first video is basically going to be called Part 1 Planning. And this is where I'm going to plan my list, plan what I'm going to collect. I'm going to show you my 1,000 points of what I'm going to go for, and then roughly my 1,000 points that's going to go around it. Of course, this is obviously going to change. And I'm going to have my Liberator Assault Group army. I'm probably going to do a Death Company one, because why the hell not? And I'm not too sure I would probably want to play the Angelic Horse. It's good, but I quite like the Liberator Assault Group. And I'm going to do 3 lists for this Liberator Assault Group, and then a fun Death Company list. Because if you're going to do Blood Angels, you might as well collect a Death Company army. But yep, definitely impressed with this. I think we got a really good book. I think they are quite nice. I'm quite pleased with it. I think it's better than the Dark Angels book. And I'm really going to enjoy playing Space Marines as Blood Angels, and it's going to be super cool. Am I sad that we don't have a Primarch? A little bit. Am I going to be super sad when Space Wolves come out with Leman Russ? Amazingly sad, but that doesn't mean I won't do them. And obviously, you know, Emperor's Children at some point next year. So keep an eye out for more videos, and if you want to follow how I get on, obviously hit that subscribe button, and then you'll be able to keep up to date, ringing the bell, and not missing any videos. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Codex. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's a vast improvement on the previous ones? Do you think Blood Angels got off pretty well, or did they come out really well with the update? Between the 2 Angel books, which one do you think is the best? And hey, do you remember all the rumors? Do you remember all the rumors when we were getting told that there was going to be a dual book of Dark Angels and Blood Angels in one book for 10th edition? Do you remember those rumors? Valrak, and how they were all wrong. Valrak. Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah, so yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think we did pretty well. So yes. And I'm really looking forward to it. And obviously you can check out my members and my Patreon areas if you want to help and support the channel in other ways. Striving forward with the new content. The box for the new camera arm is here. I'm off on leave next week. I'm going to be doing all of that prep work on the side here, sorting all of that out. The monitor didn't work. The little thing on the end, the little connection port didn't work. There's a power issue with the monitor, so I'm probably just going to have to buy a new monitor rather than just using an old monitor. Oh well. And so yeah, cool. And yeah, so that's the video, everybody. If you like what I do, please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.